Good morning, internet beauties, ladies, gents and Pikachus. We'll return to the is God evil? The question that the atheist posed to me a couple of days ago. So I've had quite a few replies on that video actually, considering I thought it was quite niche really, but there's been a bit of interest on there. Unfortunately, they haven't been of a particularly high standard, although I think the people making them probably are high standard people, but they're just not approaching this in a fair way, and I'm going to tackle that now. So the first thing that I noticed is both the people who have replied to me immediately invented an evil god and then started strawmanning me using the proposition of their imagined evil god that they invented. One of them suggested that God is like Voldemort. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Nobody is worshipping Voldemort. Nobody attributes Voldemort to human life and death on this planet. And we know who created Voldemort and why they did that, and that Voldemort is in fact a fictional character. Nobody's life is affected by Voldemort, past the fact when they watch a Harry Potter film they identify with Harry Potter's struggle against Voldemort. Voldemort started off as a regular human being. Voldemort cannot appear to you in your life. Voldemort can make no difference to your life past the power that you give to him when you watch Harry Potter. And when the movie ends, what you imagine. That's you doing that. That's not Voldemort. Voldemort is a fiction played by a real person. So I don't think it's fair to equate the fair question that the original atheist who I was responding to asked me, why is God so evil, quantifying that by saying God is evil because he ends life that is created with death, and that's not fair. I don't think that fair question, who he is asking sincerely to get a good answer from me, you have equated that to your ridiculous pseudo, your expression of Voldemort, the fiction, as a god, and then comparing that to the atheist's question. It's not a fair thing to do. The atheist had sincerity and truth and a good motive and was polite. You have none of those things. So like I said in my reply to you, please feel free to answer with comments the video that I made before and this one. But if your goal is to express anger at something in your head that you imagined upon me, who is a real person, well, that is not good. Like, you shouldn't be trolling around the internet, swearing and shouting and accusing people and offending people who you've never met, who've done nothing to you for no reason at all, based on your own delusion. That's what we're talking about with the Harry Potter Voldemort example. You are deluding yourself that Voldemort is equal to any religion's god, when it is not. In your head it is, because you don't consider the rest of the planet, you only consider your own view, and in your view, all gods equal Voldemort, which is just not the case. For instance, does Voldemort have a nation attached to him? Did that nation give rise to the biggest religions on the world, which millions of people follow? Is there wars in the name of Voldemort? Do people say they would have died had it not been for Voldemort? No to all of these things. So Voldemort is not an analogue for any religion's god, least of all the one we were talking about in that original conversation with the original atheist who asked the question. So if you are being honest and sincere, which I hope now that I've explained this to you that you start doing, you wouldn't have brought up the Voldemort example because it is just full of faulty. There's nothing good about that example, and it shows you to be either very ignorant to the topic or outwardly aggressive, and that's the reason why you've sneaked this ignorance in there. You weren't being ignorant on purpose, but your rage was controlling you, and you were so busy expressing that rage on something that happened to you in your life on me, who didn't cause it, that you didn't realise how ignorant that you were being. But I will forgive you of that. If that's the case and you're just expressing rage because something in your life's upset you, I validate that. You've got every right to be upset with people that upset you in your life. However, please keep in mind those people are not me. I have not upset you in your life. Nothing I have done has upset you in your life. So, with that understanding that we're both going to treat each other with a little bit of respect, please answer my question again and I will field that question. As to the other person who answered me, she is far more polite and seemingly far more intelligent in her replies, but even she tripped over this same mistake of having to strawman me with an invented god and then repose the question and answer that rather than the original one. So let's go through what the original question was. The original question, which I was asked by an atheist, in sincerity and truth, he wanted me to answer it, is, why is God so evil? And he quantified that God was evil by saying, God creates life and then allows it to die. And that is suffering which God is enforcing upon human beings. So enforced suffering through life, which God has caused, is the reason he's evil. That's the question. So please try again. Strip away all this angst and this passive aggression and these silly arguments about Harry Potter or the nature of good and evil. We'll get to that. We will get to that. That is part of the overall bigger picture. But this specific question is, why is God evil? Because he makes life end in death. Let's talk about that. So please, if you have something relevant and interesting to say about that, let's discuss it. That's what we're here to do. But please, if you are talking about imagined gods you had to invent to try and strawman me, or characters from well-known J.K. Rowling fiction books, maybe make a video on your channel and we'll discuss those on your channel. Let's stay focused on the topic on this one, which is, an atheist asked me, why is God evil? And then used as his example for why God's evil, the fact that God creates life and then allows it to die in death, which I answered in my first video. So that's the end of this video. Let's all try and stay polite and respectful, because if we are just expressing anger from something historical in our own lives upon complete strangers who were nothing to do with that, guess what we are being? That. So try not to do that. In conclusion, I will say this. My experience of God since I became a Christian, because I wasn't, for 2/3 of my life, I was like you, I was an atheist and I thought I knew absolutely everything. My experience of life and humanity since I became a Christian has been far more fulfilling, happy and peaceful. So I don't feel the need to go trolling atheists and inciting offence with them by making up spurious strawman arguments and then twisting their questions and answering the twisted version. I would see that as dishonest. You know, the best thing you can say about that is it's insincere and it's ignorant. The worst thing you can say about that is it's outwardly aggressive and dishonest. And I just don't need that. That's not what I'm here to do. My videos are not for dishonest, insincere, rude people. It's for people seeking truth, who are honest and dignified. If that's you, answer the question, start again, answer it as it was asked, and try not to use Harry Potter. So that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. God bless you all, and I'll see you lovely people in the next one. Bye now. And try to keep in mind, the reason I am fielding and answering these questions is for a person who is searching truth so that they can feel joyful, contented with life, not so that they can express anger and fall deeper into despair. God bless you all, have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.